and let there be light.
We're the two Gay Reefers.
Hey Reefers, we're here today with Nick from Nick's.
Hey guys, how are ya?
And we are going to
Install a Red Sea Reefer 425.
Nice. This is going to be something a bit different for us. And I'm sure Nick will have lots of hints and tips to tell us along the way.
Yeah, certainly do. So today we are moving an old system out of the way and putting a new system in place. So we're going to be transferring stock over, filling it up, new pumps, new lights, all the fancy stuff to go on this new system.
I mean, we've done this before with one of our tanks, but it'll be nice to have professional advice for a change.
Look, we'll try our best. We had Susie, the wonderful customer, come into the store. She was having a few issues with her marine tank. So decided to pop around one day to have a look at it, and then we came to the conclusion that, you know, it's not really been designed for a marine tank. It's sort of been like a freshwater tank converted into a marine tank that unfortunately she was sold. As you see here, we've got a couple of tanks in this system. It's quite a small system. It's only 30 centimeters wide by just under 4 foot. The other thing as well, that when we first rocked up, we noticed that there was a lot of scum on the surface of the water, and that was just due to sheerly having, you know, a hole drilled in the side there, having poor surface skimming to allow, you know, everything to go down into the sump. The other thing that we noticed on this as well was the sump itself. Hasn't been set up correctly. All these baffles are very stagnant, or they're stagnant water, and you're getting that build-up of that gunge on there. The water flow was literally just flowing in from the tank into a filter sock, and then just running through the bottom, not going through any baffles or directing the flow. So it made it very hard to get a correct you know, skim happening with the fluctuating water level. So we're really relying on the ATO to do its job, but we have been getting a little bit of fluctuation, so that will affect the skimmer as well. And then obviously, you know, not enough room. They're very, very small ATOs, so Susie's having to top up, you know, every day basically. We've got the new tank here pre-done. We dropped this off the other day, pre-assembled. We did that at the store, so everything's ready to go. We're going to get started on stripping down this old tank and putting this new one in place. Awesome. Just got the customer to write down all their livestock, so we know exactly what we're taking out and what we're exactly putting back in. All the fish, all the inverts, so at the end of the day, when we're finished doing everything, we can go through, check everything off, make sure that it's all there, because quite often things like wrasses, gobies, you know, dotty backs will get into rocks. And sometimes if you don't put them in the water, you know, they can die from that. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to fill our holding container up, and then we will start transferring the fish, the coral and the rock. So basically what we're doing here, guys, is we're just going to try and keep as much water from the aquarium. So this is why we brought around a big pond tub that holds 200 odd litres. So we can keep as much of this water to cover the fish and the coral and the rock up. And then what we'll do is we've brought around basically a battery operated air pump, so we can provide oxygen. The other thing that we'll do is we'll transfer the media over into this container as well to keep it wet. So we're going to take the trim off the top of the aquarium off. We're just going to start transferring our coral first down into the holding container. Making sure when we do put our coral in that they're not touching each other, because certain species will sting each other. Just like in your fish tank, you know, you don't want to put them too close together. We've got all the coral out of the system. We'll start taking the rock out, start placing that into there. Cool, so what we've done now is we've basically just set up our air stones in there to keep the oxygen flowing through, because we don't want to have any you know, unoxygenated water, because that's when bacteria and things like that start dying off. And then obviously as soon as we start putting fish in there, they're going to be a little bit stressed, so they're going to breathe a lot more heavily. 3-inch steep substrate, I'm not a fan of that. Just as you can see, even though that this has been regularly gravel backed, you're still getting a lot of detritus build up in there. So with the new tank, we're definitely going to a minimal sand in there, so then that way it will be easier to keep clean. So the biggest thing that I hate doing when I do these moves is doing the sand bed, because you never know what you're going to find, whether it's a nasty bristleworm or a verminid snail or something like that. It can be quite sharp and you stick your finger into it. It's literally just a crushed marble, not something that we'd recommend for marine. You really want to be using like an aragonite based substrate. There's multiple brands out there, Red Sea, Carib Sea, Sea Chem. Just giving the substrate one last look over, because there's always one or two little snails that you might miss. So we'll just give this a bit of a clean over, make sure that we're not missing anything, and then we'll be able to move this. Just go We're going to be putting the new tank in position. So we'll move the cabinetry into place, and we'll put the tank onto the cabinetry. Get our level out, make sure that it's level. Center it off the wall, give it a good spacing off the back. One thing I will say with the series of the reefer tanks is, in this overflow where the bulkheads are, they do protrude out the bottom a little bit. So when we lift it, we just got to make sure that we're going lifting up over, that we're not actually resting those bulkheads down on this part of this top of the cabinet, so potentially either damaging the styrene or potentially breaking anything in there, which we don't want. We're going to go through, put all our plumbing in, literally drop 3 pipes in, tighten them up, and then put some other pipes on. 3 pipes in, up the top there. We just open our cabinet doors up, we just tighten these up. We don't over tighten these. If you feel that you're starting to get any clicks on there, you've generally over tightened the pipes in there, which can cause damage to the O-rings, causing them to leak. So what we're doing now, guys, is we've just chucked our bucket in down underneath there. We've literally got maybe 3-4 litres of water, and we're just going to tip it in there, avoiding going down any of those pipes. Make sure that we don't have any leaks in the back there. So we've tipped that in there. We'll give that a few minutes just to make sure that there's no leaks dripping out the bottom. If there is, it's a lot easier to deal with a minimal amount of water than having a full overflow full of water spraying everywhere. So it's been roughly about 5-10 minutes. We'll just check that we don't have any no leaks in the bucket or dripping out of there. So we're pretty safe that we can put the sump into position.
Fits like I bought one.
It does. This plumbing work's really easy to do. We've got our main overflow here, which is on the gate valve, and then we've got our emergency return pump that we're using. We're using a Ecotech Vectra. So we've actually just come up into a T-piece, then into 2 bar fittings. So we're going to use the one pump to feed our chiller and then feed the main display. Used to put your chiller into the cabinetry. It does have a nice vent in the back to blow the hot air out. Just over here. We're going to put our rock structure in there. Hopefully we'll nail it first go, but we'll see what happens. now that we've got our rock, our sand, our water's filling up, we're putting the lights in, put our wave makers back on. We're going to start slowly acclimatizing the water from here into there, just a little bit, so then that way it's not too much of a shock for the fish or the inverts. So we found all our snails and starfish, so we'll put those guys in, let those guys get settled in, and then we'll do our red light cleaner at the end because they can be a bit more sensitive. Cool, so what we're going to do now, guys, is that the tank's just under halfway full. We're going to start pumping some of our old water into here, put our media blocks, all that sort of stuff into the system, so yeah. So now that we've put the fish into the system, we've gone through and we've put some carbon into our filter cups to help keep the water crystal clear. So what we're going to do now is when we generally move a tank, we always recommend to the customer getting some bacteria. Just for when we do that transfer over, you can lose a little bit of bacteria in the system. So what we're going to do is we're going to dose up with some Bactigem M into the system, and we're basically going to do a full dose of this every day for 2 weeks. So what we've done now, guys, is basically that the aquarium's full now. We've switched everything on. We just need to adjust the levels, get our optimal running height for the sump. So as you can see at the moment, we need to top up a little bit more with salt water because the pump is cavitating, blowing a bit of air into the system. So we're just going through, topping that up, just adjusting the gate valve to make this tank as silent as possible. They can be a bit fiddly at times, so hopefully we'll get it within a few minutes to settle down and stop the splashing and the gurgling, which will be good. So now that we've got the tank up and running, all the corals, all the fish are back in, they're looking pretty happy. We've got our skimmer running, we've put our media back in, carbon filter socks, chillers are back on and running, which is good. So what we're going to go through now is just check over the aquarium, make sure that we don't have any leaks, wipe down the inside of the glass, wipe outside the glass, and then we're good to go. So we've finished up moving out the old system, putting the new one in. So yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't think what to say.
He's a bit tired, so
yes.
If you've enjoyed today's video, like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe. And as always, be excellent to each other and keep it salty, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
See you guys.
Hey Reefers, we're here today with our sponsor Nick from Nick's Aquariums, Oceanariums, Terrarium.
That is the one.
We always get it wrong.
We could throw Calidarium, Vivarium, Solarium,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Dickorarium in there. Dickorarium.